So, the next-gen consoles are coming out soon, and, well, there's a lot to like about, well, I guess either next-gen console. Nintendo doesn't have anything coming out, but you have Microsoft and you have Sony both making new hardware, which are set to release in November of this year. So that's cool. We just ended up getting a taste, possibly, of the PlayStation 5's UI with the PlayStation Remote Play app. So Remote Play is indeed coming to the PlayStation 5. It's probably going to be 60 FPS. The settings go up to 1080p. You can reduce the resolution of your PlayStation 5 Remote Play if you like, all the way down to 360p, just like on the original PS4. So that's another nice little treat as well, I guess. PS3, I guess maximum resolution was probably 540p, and of course it never went over 30 FPS. Though on the PSP you could actually change the recording or the playback quality. So the playback quality was basically your bitrate. You could change the video bitrate and the audio bitrate, if I recall correctly. And the PlayStation 4 automatically adjusted all that for you, but you could adjust the frame rate along with the resolution. Now PS5 only allows you to adjust the frame resolution, not anything else. The bitrate and frame rate will be handled automatically, which is pretty neat, I think, at least. Hopefully it will be suitable quality. I don't really have any reason to doubt it, but, you know, there are things that happen and make visuals pretty ugly through streaming. PS Now is actually pretty good for game streaming. It's obviously, well, it's not the best, but, you know, the best is really only slightly better. So, really, when you think about it, it's not a bad deal. I mean, you know, a lot of people get a little bit butthurt, a little bit angry about the PlayStation Now, and also streaming from other platforms, like you have Steam. I haven't tried Steam. I haven't tried NVIDIA GeForce Now either. And in all honesty, I haven't even tried game streaming from my computer. Everything that I've heard, though, and all the reviews, even Digital Foundry's own analysis, which I would assume is a little bit more PC sort of focused, the reality is that nothing really there seemed to be compelling. So the graphics didn't seem to be much better on the streaming services that NVIDIA is offering, or any other platform holder, really. So you do have PlayStation, you do have Steam, you do have Microsoft Now is in that game. They're doing there's the Xbox game streaming. What do they call that? Just Xbox Cloud or something? xCloud, that's right. You know, it's nice that everybody's doing this, it really is. But there's kind of a limit, you know? Basically, the best you can stream from YouTube is the best you're going to get from streaming services. You know, not to mention you're talking about, well, not really, you know, like YouTube isn't the best. Like you have Netflix, you have Amazon Video, you even have PlayStation Network Video, which is much higher quality than YouTube's streaming options. I don't know why Digital Foundry didn't talk about that, but, you know, it's not a huge deal. That said, again, everything that I've heard and seen from people who have reviewed the game streaming service from NVIDIA, provided from their GPUs directly to your device, your external device, they're not very good. You know, quality-wise, the stream is still pretty blocky. It's really reliant on your internet. And even if your internet is way better than mine, you know, you have a lot of these people that are testing it, and provided the fact that they're actually streaming from the network rather than, you know, from a local device. So if I were to set up the game streaming service from the NVIDIA-based or NVIDIA-powered computer to my NVIDIA Shield, then I should end up with far better quality than I should expect from PlayStation Now, and that's just sort of a given, because the quality of the stream would be dictated by the quality, you know, the bandwidth that's available on my router, which is pretty much the highest. You know, I mean, well, it's wireless 5. That sucked. Oh well. So yeah, Wi-Fi 5, I guess, is now what we're calling it. You know, you had A, B, G, N, and AC is now what people are using. And the new wireless protocol is just basically, well, people are calling it Wi-Fi 6. It's not really called Wi-Fi 6, I would assume. I'd assume there's a name for it. You know, you had A, B, G, N, AC. So yeah, Wi-Fi 6 would be the next one. But what is the letter? AX, I believe, is the acronym. The alphanumeric sort of, well, it's just letters there. So there's that. Wi-Fi 6 is available, I believe, on both consoles. I know it's there on PlayStation 5. I have zero reason to not expect it to be there on Microsoft systems. Microsoft is apparently paying GameStop for every system that they sell. GameStop is getting a little bit of a cut from Microsoft. That's pretty clever. I think that's good for GameStop. You know, I don't hate GameStop. GameStop isn't the best place to buy video games. I mean, literally, you could be serviced just as well from Best Buy or Walmart or Target. There's not really anything unique that GameStop is offering. But that said, you know, I don't really want them to die. Like, the business isn't that freaking terrible, so I know everybody has been led astray by GameStop, but are you telling me that Walmart, Best Buy, you know, Target, whatever, haven't led you astray either with your purchasing decisions and stuff like that? I mean, there's all sorts of businesses out there that are trying to sell you stuff, and you know, that is really kind of a terrible thing that they try to screw over their customers the way that they do. But it also is sort of buyer beware. I mean, I hate it that, you know, there are people that are less educated or, you know, just want to buy a toy for the kids. And they, yeah, because consoles are toys. I'm sorry. You know, I'm a huge fan of the video game consoles. I prefer playing on consoles, you know, compared to PC, because PC, let's just face it, is a terrible platform. You do get the option to have better performance and frame rates and, you know, resolutions and graphic settings, but let's be real. You know, the DRM, the division between all these different platforms, the fact that you could always lose your information on one platform and another platform, accounts can be canceled, services can stop existing. I mean, if Sony or PlayStation or Microsoft or whatever decides to cease existing, you lose, you know, all the stuff that you didn't already download to begin with. I mean, the same thing is true on PC too. I mean, there is a possibility that those sorts of things migrate over if you read the terms of service of the platforms that you are, you know, subscribed to. This is true on PlayStation Network as much as it's true on Steam or any other platform. But they don't want their services to die, obviously. I mean, that's their business. That's their, you know, their ability to make money. So obviously they don't want to lose their revenue stream. But if they do, if for some reason something goes really bad, there's a possibility that those companies will continue to exist under the ownership of something else. But the reality is that, you know, these companies, if they stick around for a very long period of time, they're successful, that's great. If they don't, you have everything tied to one service, and that actually is kind of convenient as much as it is kind of a detriment. Like, of course, if they go bankrupt and they stop selling games and stuff, that's no bueno for you, but it's also, you know, you don't have to do really anything. If the company is purchased, then you have to figure out what all the new rules and regulations and stuff are. Finally, I got a stupid blueprint for that thing. Anyway, you know, I'm trying to level up some of these vehicles. It's getting pretty ridiculous. This game's kind of fun. You know, it's kind of like a time waster. It's kind of like a gambling game, unfortunately, which is really kind of sad. But anyway, yeah, I'm playing S19 Legends if you don't really see, like, everything. There's all sorts of... This game is, like, kind of just recording the video is kind of like an ad for it, isn't it? I'm playing it at 20 frames per second, though. And I did lock the frame rate that way, just so I could record video and, you know, talk at the same time, obviously, without my system getting really hot. If it was colder, then maybe, I guess, you know, if the ambient temperature was colder, then I could actually record at 30 without any issues. But also the battery life is, like, under 50%, so... Yeah, well, whatever. Uh-oh, I don't want to wreck. Anyway. That's not really important. These companies aren't really going to go anywhere. If they do, you're kind of going to know about it. Like, if the writing is going to be on the wall, Sony, Microsoft definitely, Sony. You know, in the gaming space, PlayStation is really looking rock solid. The rest of their division, you know, Sony is getting really crazy with the SJW stuff. I'm not liking that at all. A lot of people are voicing their frustrations through the interwebs, you know, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. You know, there's a lot of people that are frustrated with all the SJW talking points that most of these companies are espousing, but especially since I follow Sony, I hear about that a lot more. And, you know, I'd say it's justified. These companies need to know their place. They are selling hardware. They are not supposed to be trying to make social change. I mean, if their devices, they want to, you know, try to keep their devices from being wasteful and stuff like that, the manufacturing process, that's amazing. You know, I like hearing about that sort of stuff. That's great. You know, less pollution, all that stuff, contrary to popular belief. People who do have sort of right-leaning political opinions, which would be me. I'm not a conservative, but I'm not a liberal. I'm one of those fence riders that actually makes decisions all the time. You know, political decisions. I voted Trump. I'm going to keep voting for him, as, you know, well, this last time you can vote for him. And, you know, it is what it is. It's really not because he's the best thing since sliced bread or anything. It's really just because he's the best option out of the two that are available right now. You know, Biden is kind of a stump. Let's be real. It's not really that he was a stump always. Well, I mean, actually, you could argue that it was. He's been in politics for a long time, but he's not really done anything. You know, and his record is verifiably bad. He's done a lot of bad things, and, you know, these companies will still lower more or less side with the Democratic sort of position, which I find strange. It's not necessarily a terrible thing. Some of the things that the Democrats say they want are good. They're great on the surface. We want equality. We want racism to end. We want, pollution to stop and all that stuff. But who really isn't vying for that? Can you tell me any sort of political candidate that is actually arguing against people being equal and stuff like that? Oh, yes, I can. Joe Biden. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the current Democrat. And we know because that's his history. And that's also Kamala Harris's history. It's kind of unfortunate. But anyway, these companies need to get out of freaking politics because it's really not a good look for them. And Sony is doing a lot of this stuff, trying to prop up women, trying to prop up, minorities, primarily blacks, not any other race, not any other minority group, just black people. It's kind of weird. I find it very strange. I really do. I don't see how this is going to help you sell movies or, video games or anything. Now, that said, just because a game features a black character or, I guess mixed race character and stuff like that, like Miles Morales in the new Spider-Man game, doesn't mean I'm not going to play it. Doesn't mean I'm not going to enjoy it. Doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean crap because I'm not a racist, despite all these freaking idiots out there that would, as soon as you talk about race, everything gets racist. You can't kind of avoid that. You really can't. So anyway, I don't have any problems with Miles Morales. The Spider-Man character, the Spider-Man universe, the game that they've created, all that stuff. I don't have a problem with the character being replaced, for the new game, because in this case they're replacing the character. Peter Parker's face is being replaced not just in the remake, but also in the new game. If he was just being replaced in the remake, or in the remake or in the new game or something, that would be weird. And honestly, I don't know the real reasoning. I mean, we've heard the bone structure reasoning and all that crap, but let's be real. I mean, I don't know everything about motion capture, but what was wrong with the actual performance that was already on the PlayStation 4? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Peter Parker's performance on the PlayStation 4 was fantastic. The visual performance, his face movements and all that stuff. But they did replace his character with somebody that they said the bone structure matches up a lot more nicely, and I think that helps them make the games a little bit easier, maybe next gen or something, so maybe it makes sense. Maybe they were spending a lot of time retooling the animations, or maybe their particular way of handling... Oh, crap. I really slowed myself down there. The way that they're handling the cleanup of the motion capture animation data or something is just not syncing up very well, so it creates a lot more problems than it's worth to just animate, that guy's face, the original voice actor's face, or the original, not the voice actors, but the original mocap actor's face. I don't really know. I'm going to be honest with you, I animate, but I don't know everything there is to know, and I don't know everything about motion capture. I've never even touched a motion capture suit. If I were to do motion capture, it'd be like facial tracking. I'd have to be like sticking stuff on my face or other people's faces and all that stuff. If I were to do that stuff myself, I would not have the money to buy a mocap suit, which, are ridiculously expensive, let's be real, but also not something you couldn't make for $25 on the cheap. You could literally just get a black hoodie, get some tape. It might not be the greatest quality, and it certainly will have restrictions if you get like colored tape and put it on a black hoodie and stuff. You'd have issues with the hoodie moving around and stuff. Well, you could get a small hoodie. I'm not sure if I made the time that I needed. You could get a small hoodie that fits really nice, really, really tight, I guess, so you're not dealing with a lot of the trackers moving around needlessly, which would cause issues. Of course, the other issue is like the cameras. The cameras are just all really expensive by themselves. You don't need IR cameras. You can use color cameras, but it takes longer to process, the trackers and everything, and it's a mess. But you can do this sort of stuff on the cheap. It could cost you, if you have the camera, if you have a computer with tracking software and all that stuff already, and there are free options for that, it could be something that really only costs you around, $80, maybe a little bit less. And you'd be set to kind of track wherever. The problem is it'd still be sort of 2D tracking. Well, not really. Because the way that cameras work and everything, it would still be 3D tracking. It's just that it wouldn't be anywhere near as robust. With the, with motion capture, the way it works right now is, you got the full volumetric tracking with all those infrared cameras and everything. And even if a tracker is lost on one camera, you can pick it up onto the other. So you're not losing that spatial data over time, which is great, but that sort of stuff can happen when you are using a tiny amount of trackers on a single camera. You're trying to track them with a single camera. It's really a mess. But either way, stuff that happens. It's not something that needs to be expensive. Whatever. So yeah, politics bad. for gaming. For companies, it didn't work out for any company that really did it. It didn't really harm every company. Most companies, they experienced a little bit of harm, possibly because of what they were saying. Mostly it's just customer feedback, negative customer feedback saying, what are you doing? Just stick to what you're supposed to be doing. And I agree. You're not supposed to be, pushing this sort of stuff. It doesn't look good for a company, in my opinion, and really it's completely pointless for a company to say, well, I want global peace. It's like, who isn't freaking arguing for that? Who doesn't want people to just stop, killing each other? It's one thing people getting upset at these stupid console arguments and stuff like that. It's like, I get it. That's stupid too. But sometimes it is funny. Sometimes you see these people, they argue about dumb things and it's hilarious. And it's great to a certain extent to, be driven about some stuff, I guess, but it's really, really, really ridiculous when a company is trying to push social change and they're really out of their lane. I'm sorry. I don't like it when Microsoft does it. I don't like it when Sony does it. I don't like it when Apple does it. If they are pushing, again, if they're pushing, we don't want pollution for pollution's sake, that's fine with me. If they're pushing that whole narrative that we don't want pollution because climate change, it's like, well, you know how that really works, right? I mean, I hate to tell you, but getting rid of the power brick for your iPhone 12 Plus is not going to be, iPhone 12 Pro Max and all your other iPhones. It's not going to save the planet. I'm sorry. It's an unfortunate reality, but it's kind of a stupid thing to want. To say, really. It's not really a stupid thing to want. It does save them money. That's probably the real reason why they're doing it. But, they have to look good. They have to say, we're not capitalist. We're doing this to save the planet. That's what we're doing it for. That's right. Save the planet. You heard me. Anyway. Also, apparently 3D Mark has upgraded their benchmark and deleted all Android stuff from their benchmark, so the benchmark still works on Android. Their new benchmark is called Wildlife. It runs like absolute garbage on my phone. I'm not sure if it's because it's Vulkan. I'm not sure if it's just because it's, it's a benchmark that's pushing well ahead of what these mobile devices are really capable of. I mean, I can run this game at 60 FPS and 1080p, don't get me wrong. It's just that it's not going to run that way permanently, obviously, because of thermal throttling issues and stuff like that, which people constantly say that I don't pay attention to that. And it's like, no, I do. The reality is that my phone is pretty much always in a case, so thermal throttling is most definitely going to be an issue. I don't take my phone out of the case for really anything. And it's kind of a good thing that I don't, because sometimes I do drop it. I have problems, medical problems and stuff like that. I would not be running for president, not because I'm unqualified and all that stuff. Well, you could argue from a political standpoint that I'm totally unqualified. The reality is that, who is really qualified to run for president? Not really that many people. You could argue that Trump wasn't qualified for president, and, I kind of thought the same thing. It's just that, again, the person that Trump was running against at that time was definitely not very great. And the same thing is true this time, which is, again, nice second place. Stolen! That's not going to last long, unfortunately. I wonder how many people are using bots to play this game instead of me. Obviously I'm not. I'm not playing it right here. Yikes. Pro tip, use this vehicle. Everybody does, except for, people who have super high-rank vehicles where their top speed and acceleration kind of overpowers the fact that their handling's crap, and nitrous is pretty much non-existent. It's just a random Asphalt 9 Legends gamer tip there for you. There is a PC and Switch version of the game, and there is no crossplay. And, of course, cross-buy is irrelevant because, well, guess what? This game is free. Though I have been paying for the Season Pass. I do play it enough that this is justified. Just to give you an idea, there is really, this is the only mobile game that I play like this, to be 100% frank. I do play a lot of racing games and stuff, and it is kind of sad that this game doesn't allow you to kind of traditionally control a vehicle. I mean, you can with the gamepad control everything except for your acceleration, and true braking is really not possible in this game. It's pretty fascinating. Which is, why everybody is taking a very similar path, if you haven't noticed. Oh, dang. Yeah, I'm not going to win. Like I said, that winning streak is not going to last. Oh, boy. So, yeah, PlayStation 5 is looking good. Xbox is looking good. People are commenting about the good things about the Xbox Series systems. They're small. They have a smaller power supply, which means that they will likely end up drawing, or need to draw, less energy from the outlet, which is great. Those are all good things. The thing is that it does possibly look like the PlayStation 5 might be the cooler device. And based on both teardowns, I would definitely have to say that PlayStation 5 is built more intelligently than the Xbox Series systems. But we don't really know too much about them outside of that. So yeah, 7th place. Bummer. Totally lost all my points I just gained in the previous race. I'm not watching ads because I'm playing. You know, that's basically how that works. So, I mean, what else is there to really say? We know that remote play is coming to the PlayStation 5. We know that you can actually remote play PS4 on PlayStation 5. So if for some reason you want to do that, or maybe you keep that PlayStation 4 around for your kids, which is, you know, a smart idea, then you have the ability to stream whatever games that don't work on your PlayStation 5 from, I guess, your kid's console. You know, instead of moving that all the way across the house, or, you know, into another house or something. I don't really know. Maybe you're taking your PlayStation 5 with you on an airplane, but not your PS4. You know, that wouldn't make much sense to me. Maybe when they have a PS5 Slim. Oh, also, apparently TMSC, I think that's right, the Taiwanese chip manufacturer giant of the planet, is making 5nm chips for Apple's new smartphone, which is pretty awesome, I guess. I mean, I knew that there was a push for 5 nanometers, and that's great. Oh boy. What the heck? Wow, I fell through the ground there. That's cool, I guess. Okay, we're going to watch that video even if I lose. So, I mean, that's nice. That's pretty cool. Oh boy. Alright, so we might actually make this worth our while. Nope, unfortunately not. Yeah. Oh, hey, you know what? Maybe not. maybe not. I was like, yeah, we're definitely getting somewhere, but it looks like maybe we're really not. I went 5th place, which isn't bad, but I want to be a little bit higher up, and that did not happen. So I still lost 8 points. So 5nm is the thing. It's in the iPhone 12, which means it's probably going to be coming to other devices. We know that the consoles are actually built on 7nm. So that's why they're as small as they are. When you kind of say something like that, it seems a little bit hilarious, but NVIDIA's latest is on an 8nm chip. And of course their GPUs are all GPU, so the things are allowed to be gigantic. And obviously, when you're looking at the GPU inside of your computer right now, if you're rocking an RTX 3090 or planning on getting a RTX 3090, you kind of realize that wouldn't really fit inside of a console. I'm not sure that would fit inside of a PlayStation 5. In fact, we know that it would not. You know, so there's that to consider. The GPU by itself probably could, obviously. I mean, it has 2 large fans. You know, it is its own hardware and all that stuff, but just by itself, you know, you could argue that would fit inside of a console. But if it takes those 2 fans just to keep the GPU cool in its current configuration and all that, it's probably not going to run very well on a console with, you know, only 1 fan. And both of the new consoles only have 1 fan. And even though the PlayStation 5's fan is a smaller fan, it actually has more volume and pushes air across both sides of the innards of the device, probably meaning that overall it pushes more volume than the Xbox Series systems. So there's that to consider. Oh boy. I could have almost been wrecked out there. So that's something. That's something to just, it's notable, I guess. Oh man, I totally forgot to watch the video for that other one, didn't I? Yeah, I totally did. Oh well. 2nd place. Again, got 20 points. Now I just need to make at least 8 more points back. Alright, so, PlayStation 5, yep, it's coming. Are we going to see what the user interface looks like? Probably, as I am speaking, they might be making a video like this. So that's cool. We know what it looks like on the inside. We know that it takes NVMe 2 or NVMe drives, M2 drives, or VNAND, depending on where you live, I guess. It takes several different sizes. You could see that by the teardown, there were holes for the screw that holds the NVMe drive down. We're using PCIe 4. You know, the I/O, you know, whether it's wireless, whether it's wired, whether it's NVMe, whether it's USB, you know, the I/O on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X is state-of-the-art. You know, we don't always get that with consoles. I mean, with the PlayStation 3, like, you had USB 3 on the horizon and all that stuff. So those were things that happened. And that's great that those systems were as compatible and flexible as they were, but, you know, I mean, there was better that was on offer. at the time, and we don't have that anymore usually. So that's pretty cool. We got that now with this next generation of hardware. Oh man. Oh boy, that sucked. Alright, we're going to try to reclaim our position, and that's not going to happen. So all we got to do is stay ahead of... Oh boy, yes, third place? Yes. Alright, nice. I earned a thingy there. Some 75,000 credits, which is nothing in this game. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, so with that 75,000 credits, what sort of upgrade on a vehicle cost anywhere near this much? $122,000. And then we're going to do another little upgrade, and that's going to cost like 270,000 or whatever. It's going to cost some ridiculous. Just upgrading a little bit incrementally, and every time we upgrade, it's going to cost us hundreds of thousands of real dollars. You know, arcade games, right? With the gotcha mechanics. This is a gas game, and that's another thing that I really don't like about games or free to play these days, is that they are always changing stuff. Games as a service, gas. It's really, again, not really my cup of tea, but this game, for some reason, it does it for me. What? Didn't it just say I was like in 19,000th place? 19,000th, give or take, you know, several hundred places there. Now I'm at 16,000th. And I did well. So there's that. I try to do these things off the cuff, and they end up turning out pretty bad. So, yeah. I think we're good. Nintendo is pretty screwed, I would say. That's a whole nother discussion. But man, you know, Nintendo having all that time struggling keeping up with this generation. Now they have to compete with next gen. You know, Nintendo is certainly in their own territory. They're in their own little La La Land, doing whatever, and that's fine. I mean, again, perfectly valid business decision. But it's the fanboys that really are annoying, you know. Alright. With that, I think I will let you all go. Have fun.